Hello and welcome back to Coach Bill's Sports Show. As always, I'm Coach Bill. We got a fun one today. I use that loosely. It looks like the Pac-12 is dying. It's the only way I can really phrase it, guys. Expansion is going to kill the Pac-12. Is what it is. So let's dive into it. All right, so everybody knows USC is leaving already. Now, Oregon and Washington are in contacts with the Big 10, as well as Stanford, in hopes to draw Notre Dame in. That would make a massive conference up there, and would leave the Pac-12 kind of struggling. On top of that, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado have been in contact with the Big 12. Obviously, Big 12 are losing Texas and Oklahoma, but if they could land Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado, their footprint expands massively. So what's running all this? What's leading all this? It's television contracts. That's what it comes down to. How many dollars are you putting in the coffer? And the ACC and the Pac-12 are on the tail end of it. Call it what it is. I think the ACC could be losing their two biggest ones as well. Clemson and Florida State have contacted the SEC due to some reports. Let me back that up. Per some reports, ACC teams, Clemson and Florida State, have contacted the SEC about potentially joining. If that's the case, then I would see probably UNC and Miami making a hop with them as well. But that's massive. That's a massive power shift. The only thing I think that can stop all this is the 12-team expansion, and if they go to a automatic bid. But even then, I don't know if it will. Pac-12 could be dead. It could go the way of the Big East. Yes, the Big East used to play football, folks. Now, I think they still do. Who knows? But I think the Pac-12 is going to die. I think they're gone. But what it brings up is, money's driving all this. And I think a lot of the bigwigs know what's coming. They know a revenue split is coming for their football players and their television contracts. And it just makes sense. Ford isn't going to partner with, I'll just throw a name out, Tennessee, Nico Iamaleava by himself. But you know who Ford might partner with? University of Tennessee. It's a big name, carries a lot of weight. So NIL is changing the game, and it's not going to stop. I think it's going to continue, and I think it's going to get to the point where we get to a revenue share. And at that point, you'll know coming in the door, hey, I'm an offensive lineman. If I'm a starting offensive lineman for, let's just keep using them because I'm wearing them, University of Tennessee. If I'm a starting offensive lineman for the University of Tennessee, I'm going to make this much a year. And I've got X amount of years to play. If I'm on the team as an offensive lineman, that's what I'm making. You'll know how much you could make from the television contracts as you come in the door. Is what it is. Now, could you make more? Of course. NIL says you can. If you're a stud, let's take Bryce Young for example. Let's say a quarterback at Alabama makes $60,000 a year just being a quarterback at Alabama. But you're Bryce Young, you can go sign those $1 million, $2 million contracts just like that and make that extra money because you are a brand onto yourself. But realize that where it's going is these partnerships are going to go through the schools. I just see it coming. I'm not the only one who said it. Josh Pate, late kick, was talking about it the other day. It's going that direction. It's going the direction of the schools partnering with brands and then using that partnership with the brand to create NIL deals with their bigger named athletes. So you'll know, hey, SEC schools have access to, Ford, Mazda, Mercedes, and let's throw a wild one in there. Nissan. Why not? Those are the 4 brands that you could get direct access through because you went to the SEC. Whereas, Chevrolet may be a Big Ten partner. Who knows? I think that's the way it's going to go. I think these schools are going to get a piece. They're going to get a piece. And you're going to see more of that partnership style go into effect with the schools. And they're going to allow the schools, like, hey, I'm trying to think of a big name in college basketball coming up. Bronny James. Perfect. Bronny James. Hey, here in North Carolina, you're going to make, $70,000 a year as a basketball player. But we have contracts with, Nike. We have contracts with, let's just say Chevy, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, a couple other things that we can get you lined up with. Lay's, maybe, I don't know, Coke. We can get you lined up with those people and help partner with you to get NIL deals for you. So that you can make the millions. Because there will still be players making millions. It's just, there's too much money out there for them not to. But for your every average player, let's say I have a son who plays football and is good enough to go play at college. He'll know walking in the door, hey, I'm a tight end. Tight ends in the ACC make, $60,000 a year. Tight ends in the SEC make $70,000 a year. Tight ends in the Big Ten make $70,000 a year, and tight ends in the Big 12 make $50,000. Maybe it's not a big enough number to decide, but hey, if I'm stuck between, if I'm my hypothetical kid, and I'm stuck between playing for just 2 in-state rivals, Clemson or South Carolina, $70,000 versus $60,000, that kind of leans some things. And it's why you see these schools looking outside their conference at these television contracts going, I got to get a part of this. I got to be a part of it. It's coming. Change is coming. It's the one thing that will always be certain. Change is coming. The interesting part to watch is how it happens, when it happens, and who's prepared for it. I think the quote-unquote collectives that you have out there right now, after you've seen what happened to Florida with Jalen Rashad, I think they're going to start to go a little to the wayside, and I believe the colleges are going to take this in-house. I just do. Let's be very frank. The NCAA has really no power anymore. And on top of that, I don't think they're going to last very much longer in the NCAA. Sorry, it was a system that worked when it worked, but the amateurism is leaving college sports, especially college football, college basketball, and college baseball. The amateurism is leaving college sports. These kids are on TV, they're on social media, they're out there. People are clamoring to consume content from them. They're going to make money. And the schools see it, and they know they can get a piece of it. Especially being able to say, Coke may partner with a school instead of a player. Pepsi may partner with a school instead of a player. Now, you may still end up with some Bryce Youngs who get a Dr. Pepper deal. Hey, more power to you. If you're that synonymous and your name is that far out there that you can get deals like that, get them. Make your money, young man. But I think it's going to start going through the schools a little bit more. I think Gatorade's going to sponsor some stuff. I think Powerade's going to sponsor some stuff. I see the partnerships coming from the schools and extending outside of that. For basketball, Jordan Brand. I know he sponsors UNC. So, big name recruit. We'll stick with Bronny James because he's, a fairly common knowledge name. Say Bronny James is trying to decide between his top three, and North Carolina says, hey, MJ said we can put you in what you doing 3 days after signing day? We got a commercial coming with MJ and you playing basketball here in North Carolina. Tell me that's not a selling point from a partnership at your school. It's huge. Absolutely huge. It's going to create... Let me back this up. Brands, big name brands, in your house, in your driveway, commonplace named brands are going to partner with schools because there's stability there. Because they know, and they're going to partner with conferences probably as well. But I know when I buy college football in the SEC, I know what I'm getting with that. I know what I'm getting when I buy college football at Alabama, at Tennessee, at Georgia. I know what I'm buying when I get college football there. There's going to be a fan base. There's going to be a following that buys into what their kid is selling. I'm buying a fan base at that point. If I'm a brand. So let's say Adidas. Say Adidas wants to sell more shoes up north. They partner with the Big 12 or Big 10, excuse me. Partner with the Big 10. Everything's Adidas now. Michigan, Ohio State, Adidas. That's the route I see things going. I see these bigger conferences being partners with brands and then allowing their student athletes partnering with these brands through their conference and then taking a piece of the pie. Now, do I think they should get a big piece of the pie? No, not at all. But there's going to be people where there's going to be brands that would not partner with kids outside of this logo. So, for instance, Tennessee. Nico Iamaleava. Huge named kid. Everybody who follows college football knows this guy's name, right? The average Joe on the street probably doesn't. So if I'm, let's just say Ford. If I'm Ford, I don't know Nico. Yeah, he might be popular, but I don't know Nico. You know what I do know? University of Tennessee. I know that. I know that logo. I just think it's going to go that way. Maybe 60-40, 75-25, who knows. But I think the majority of money will go to the student athletes for their time and their efforts and their name brand likeness and all that. But I do think the colleges will start figuring out how to make it so that they can get a piece of the pie. And I also think the kids are going to start getting a piece of the television money. It's going to happen. You've got ESPN paying $60 million a year for the rights to a league per team. $60 million a year. Got ABC, NBC, all these other people paying money for rights to games. It's going to happen where the kids get a piece. It's coming. I don't think it's going to come fast enough, but it's coming. I also think that as part of that, you're going to have a small niche where the collective is still going to make sense, and the collective is still going to be able to make local partnerships. By that I mean, you may be able to do a national television ad for Ford, but locally, the Mercedes-Benz dealership may want you. It's a local ad. Maybe it's a regional ad. Who knows? But it's local. It's regional. But you still got that major partner because of the school. So you'll keep more of the percentage, but it'll be smaller from the regional stuff. The national stuff is where the brand will come into it from the school side. A lot of moving pieces, a lot of stuff happening, but it's the way it's going. It's the way it's going. And so right now it's the Wild Wild West, and it's going to figure itself out. Just is what it is. It's going to play out. It's going to take a couple instances like what happened with Jalen Rashada, and it's going to take a couple other like what happened at Alabama, where the cornerback came into the room and said, "Hey, I need this much to stay. If not, I'm out." And Nick said, "All right, peace and joy go with you. Leave." It's going to take some instances like that for this whole thing to kind of break down. And it's also going to take the transfer portal to kind of get itself smoothed out as well. I think once those two kind of become the regular norm, I think a lot of this stuff kind of falls into place. The other thing about that is we all love the NCAA football games. The partnerships for those games are going to be easier going through the schools than they are to the individual athletes, every single one of them. It's just more efficient, more time friendly, and better off. Am I saying that's the leading cause? No. Television contracts and these massive partnerships is, but it's just one of the side effects that I think will come about once this shift happens. But anyways, hopefully the Pac-12 doesn't die. They've got some schools out there they could hold on to if they could prevent some of the bigger schools from leaving. Otherwise, you're looking at like San Diego State, San Jose State, Utah State. It's looking at a lot of Mountain West teams, let's be honest. It's looking like a lot of Mountain West teams coming in, and I don't know if that has the credibility or the power to really carry you as a quote-unquote Power 5 team anymore. Power 5 conference, excuse me. So maybe Pac-12 drops. Maybe they're in the group of 5, group of 6 at that point, and there's a Power 4. I don't know. If it goes to the Power 4, what does that do with the 12-team expansion? Does each conference champion get a set bye, and then everybody else has got to play in to face them? It's a big shift. It's a big change, and it adds some credibility back to the conference championship. Adds some excitement to the conference weekend again. Who knows? A lot of things are changing. A lot of things are coming. But thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. And as always, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Ready, break.